Hello, everyone. I know everybody's been asking me to expose this mess. I was told by an attorney, well, Daryl, you have to give us some legal definitions. You have to give us some legal statutes that we can go after MCAS. This video today is about warning the flying public the legalities of Boeing's relationship with the Department of Homeland Security brought to light. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, my fellow citizens, and those who are flying all around a lot, business people, vacationers, whatever, maybe you're not going to give a shit about this. It doesn't bother me. All I'm doing is putting it out there, and that's it. Okay, we have over 40 plus years in quality. We stood up. That you couldn't. The decorum of these Senate subcommittee means if you're not invited to talk, you can't get up or else they'll throw you out. Well, I got up to talk. April 17th, to corroborate what Sam Salipar was saying, the whistleblower, concerning the Boeing 777 and 787. It's disgusting. It is worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. It is worse than that. My fellow citizens, those that fly a lot, business people, etc., frequent flyers, vacationers, it's worse than that. Boeing gave up supplier auditing to a certificate called AS 9100 for aerospace, but it must be accredited by ANSI-ANAP, the American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board. I'm going to get into that because ANSI took over complete control over ANAP in 2018. They are underwriters for the International Accreditation Form, and also the sister organization of them is the ILAC, International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. Any organization that sits on those two organizations, ANSI takes full legal responsibility by being an underwriter. That means they take, again, all systematic and product failures. We're going to be talking about the DHS today with Alejandro Moracas. We're going to get into this. We're going to try to make it brief as possible. They do sit on ANSI-ANAP's board, the accreditation body of Boeing. So when I stood up there, and if you look at my face over there, there we go. If you look at the expression on my face, I was already knowing. I was basically giving information to Boeing because the DHS sits on ANSI-ANAP, who are the accreditation body and underwriter for Boeing. You have the American National Standards Institute, which is a non-profit corporation, and also it has been around for over 100 plus years. It has federal agencies and corporations on board. You have ANSI, who took over complete control over ANAP in 2018, and they are sitting on the IAF, which they formed. And what happened is that ANSI-ANAP were sitting between 2015 and 18 when the IAF was handed over to a communist Chinese national in 2015, who was mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. On top of that, in 2017, this guy was not only made the chairman of the IAF in 2015, but he was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China, that certified an ill-prepared bio-level 4 lab, and guess where? Wuhan, China. Without a doubt, it was a problem there. The virus was released because the scientists in 2018, when America went over there to take a peek, the scientists were saying, please, we need new people. We need not new people, but we need trained technicians. For that is the first defense against containment of any sort of biohazard escaping the doors of that facility. They didn't have it. The Chinese national Zhao Jinwu, who was also the chairman of the IF at the time, gave in 2017 a certificate to a facility that was not prepared. Okay, and in a CDC document, CDC also sits on ANSI-ANAP's board, and the accreditation body of Boeing. They stated in May of 2019, they stated in a training document that the most important part of any well-run lab is to have highly trained technicians, for that is the first line of containment if there's a biohazard to stop a release. This shows you that ANSI is the founding father of the IAF. As I said, they're also underwriters, which means they take all systematic and product failure. ANSI-ANAP does, and ANSI was an affiliate. ANAP is affiliate right here. What I want to do is, since we're getting onto the Department of Homeland Security, I'm going to show you this. Here's the Department of Homeland Security. We have Phil Matheson, who's getting money from ANSI. As you can see, that's a big dollar factor, $262,000 right in the center here. And it's called a royalty payment at this time. Then they changed it to various because I was doing videos on how improper that was. A federal agency getting paid by ANSI ANAB's, a federal agency getting paid by ANSI ANAB, who's the accreditation body for Boeing. You have NIST. Here's NIST over there sitting on ANSI ANAB's board. And you have here is Gordon Gillerman, $120,000 getting paid by ANSI plus his federal salary. You find anything? Department of Commerce, by the way, runs NIST. And this is what a royalty payment is. I got it right off the 990 form. This was in 2016, though. Unfortunately, the term royalty is not defined in the tax law. The regulations simply provide that whether a particular item of income is a royalty must be determined by the facts and circumstances of each case. Now we're going to get into this, ladies and gentlemen, business owners. The relationship between the Department of Homeland Security, the American National Crediting Board, or the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board, and Boeing raises several legal issues. Conflict of interest, DHS involvement in ANSI ANAB while having a financial relationship with Phil Matheson may create a conflicts of interest. Federal ethics regulations prohibit, and that's 5 CFR 2635.101, prohibits federal employees from participating in matters where they have financial interest. Procurement Integrity Act, 41 USC 2101, Esquire, prohibits federal employees from soliciting or accepting gifts from contractors or their representatives. You find something wrong with Phil Matheson and also Gordon Gillerman from NIST? Standard Development Organization Act requires standard organizations like ANSI to follow procedures ensuring transparency, openness, and due process. You find anything wrong? Antitrust laws. ANSI and ANAB activities may be subject to antitrust scrutiny, particularly in their actions restrain trade or create monopolies. Federal Advisory Committee Act. ANSI and ANAB boards may be considered federal advisory committees subject to the Federal Advisory Committee. Transparency and accountability requirements. Revolving door provisions. 18 U.S.C. 207 restricts former federal employees' ability to lobby or represent private interests before their former employees. And that is it for the DHS. So you find anything wrong with that? They're breaking the rules. They're breaking the law. And I stood up to represent, and he didn't know, I stood up at the DHS while you had Phil Matheson getting financially compensated, who's a DHS employee. You find anything wrong with this, ladies and gentlemen? Anything wrong? And here it is. I'd like to see Richard Blumenthal answer this one. Because this is a fucking quagmire. Yes, that is a quality term brought to light by Mr. Patrick Shanahan. Patrick Shanahan, okay, where is he? Patrick Shanahan over here. He was working at Boeing for over 30 years. He got called to service by Donald Trump as a Deputy Secretary of Defense. And when asked about the F-35, he said the program is fucked up. So as a federal employee, as somebody that you are supposed to admire and look up to some degree, he utilizes that term. What that, in a quality situation for me, fucked up means the program's no good. On top of it, it's not just the program, the aircraft. 801 have been manufactured, F-35s, and they're still producing them with rejects. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, tqrs@yahoo.com. I thank you, and I look forward to your input in the comments section. Thank you very much.